Okay, complete breakdown of the latest single. Let's get into it. So, guitars. We start with this thumping riff. Fairly nasty. So the reason, or I guess the way this came along. Sorry, let me just make sure I have solo safe on the mic. So it actually started with let's see if I can find it. This drum part here. So this was just a sample from Umrus Pak. He is actually a very cool like hyper pop producer. That's kind of one of my like guilty pleasures musically. Definitely hyper pop. It's like the stupidest genre ever, but it's so cool. And so there's a lot of like really smashed samples and like just smashed sounds in general. So lots of distortion, lots of like artifacts and like weird stuff. So I just found this loop, and basically I kind of wrote the thumping riff trying to follow the kick pattern. So if I play this along with the this thumping riff, whatever kick pattern was in this loop. And it's honestly fairly, like, I didn't really touch this loop. It's like just straight from the splice back into the session, and like not even like adding anything to it. It's just like that's what I wanted. So that's basically the thumping riff at the beginning. It's just like thumping. I'm using the archetype of Bassi. This is my thumping tone if you want to copy it. Yeah, fairly straightforward. Yeah, basic stuff. We have EQ. I absolutely hate this new update. Well, it's not really new, but I was forced to update to the Sonoma whatever latest Mac update. I absolutely hate it. But yeah, basic EQ, parallel compression, parallel, well, yeah, just parallel compression really, and then this is my rooms, and that's pretty much it. And then I have, I think, I don't have it here, but usually I do like, this is not real mixing, it's just demo mixing. Maybe we can do another video for like the actual mixing that I did of this. But yeah, this is the thumping part, and then from here, let's just continue with guitars. We go into this part. This riff is absolutely impossible. So if you can play it, just do it and like tag me, because I really want to see someone else play this, because it's absolutely impossible to play. You can see that while writing I was like recording like just small bits at a time, because it's really impossible to play. So yeah, the usual, I talked about this like many times already. One instance of the archetype playing is with the cabinet off, and the other one is with the cabinet on. And then you blend the volume depending on how much of each you want. And this is basically how I get my sort of hyper clean tone. And then you gotta watch out for dynamics and muting to really get it sit right. This is the other guitar group. So almost impossible to play with the right dynamics, even though it's quite a simple riff. But yeah, so it's just the same, exactly the same tone. And then what else do we have? Oh, there was a solo actually that like I just deleted it. So I'll play it with the solo just to give you like I don't know, like an alternative version. I don't know, it's not that it's bad, but it just like I went for that prefer this riff because the solo is like a little bit cheesy, you know, guitar solo, like how new. So yeah, I didn't really want to go that route. And so from there we have this kind of more ambient guitar. So the way you get this is just put time effects in front of the amp. So quite common thing to do. That's what I did. And yeah, honestly pretty straightforward. Again, these are not like really mixed, so it's just a demo. And then we have more thumping. Let me actually raise the buffer a little bit because yeah, it's a little bit glitchy. But yeah, so more thumping, and then we go back to the thumping from the beginning. But that's pretty much it in terms of guitars. And then the following section, this is something that I'm honestly like I was just like almost wanting to like hide it because I've never seen, I mean, it's not like I've never seen this you know, done, but it feels pretty unique, so I'm gonna share it with you. But if you end up copying me, like just, you know, like tag me or like tell someone else that you got it from me, because you know I think it's pretty cool. So I mean, it's really nothing new. Like Polyphia did this, but it's like a little bit different. So it's basically just vocoder, right? So I'm taking the signal actually from this track here, which is like random notes in a scale. And so instead of like vocodering the guitar to a chord progression, which is what like maybe you could hear with like Polyphia, it's just taking like random notes from a scale played by a synth. And so you get this like really weird, almost like random melody combined to what you're playing on the guitar. I don't know, it gives it really a super cool texture in my opinion, so that's what's happening. And then we have another pair of guitars here. Just the usual plucky stuff. And then we have the, you know, the electronic part, and then it's just the same riffs as before in terms of thumping, and the same melody as before. Or actually, we do have a little bit of a different section here. So like just chugs, still with a split coil tone. And from there is basically repetitions of the previous sections. So yeah, guitar work honestly like quite simple on this one. It's really like a few tracks, a few ideas. What's really interesting, I think, is probably the electronic stuff. So let's maybe go back to the intro and just like mute the guitars. Um, yeah, let's just mute all this. It almost sounds better without guitars. So I don't know. So drums, we have, like I said, that sample, and it's really just that, and a few percussions that I was making. I wish I knew like where, like what was the original, like the source for this. It's probably something that I ended up manipulating with like the transients mode in Ableton. But I really don't know like where I got this from, because it's rendered, so I don't know the source. So yeah, it's something that I ended up like cutting the sustain out of, and then this was also just a loop. So yeah, this is pretty much what's going on in terms of drums for the intro, and then it's the same loop. I chopped this kind of to go along with that one. Percussions, sort of straightforward. I mean, that's really it. Oh, here I think I like edited a little bit the starting points of the groove, but that's it. And then we have sort of real-ish drums that come in here. They're still heavily layered with kind of the same electronic samples to give you like that almost like fake effect. And this is the same setup for pretty much every song, like Neil, Era Moderna, Earth, and this one. So they all have the same drum mix, the same kind of this sort of like fake-ish sound. I mean, it's not sounding too great here because it's not really mixed, so that's that. But you know, just to give you an idea of like what I was thinking in terms of drums here, we have a one-shot layer with a bunch of reverb, sidechain, and that's it. And then they just repeat the same. For the crazy part, we have a thing like very similar. These are the same, or they come from the same sound design section that I did in Nihil, the first single, which is like, I don't have it here, but it's a bunch of like, I forgot what it's called, like I think comb filtering. I think that's what I was doing here on the snare. Like you delay the channels and like make like weird resonance in a sound, like this one for instance. Kind of metallic and resonancy. So yeah, that's that. And then everything else is kind of the same. So yeah, once again, like pretty straightforward compared to maybe the previous singles. Bass, once again, super simple. We have this, this is a preset from Analog Bass, like a really random preset, to be honest. Sounds like this. It's like a bunch of processing to make it fit, but fairly straightforward, like just, saturation, EQ, like super, straightforward stuff. So nothing crazy, a bunch of EQ here. Let's see what secrets this has. Obviously this has to fit along with the other basses, so I was like cutting a lot of this stuff. And we also have this. Which is kind of cool. This is manipulating some, I think it was some sample from the same pack that ended up sounding like this with a bunch of like resampling probably. But yeah. And then these are like reverse things. For transitions. I have no idea where this came from, but where's this pad that I'm hearing? Oh, there we go. So this is actually, this is where the song actually started. So I was playing around with Arturia Juno, and I made this like random patch that unfortunately I don't have here, but it was basically like modulating the rate of the arpeggiator, and so you kind of slows down, then ramps up, and you get this like sort of like random bursts of scales and arpeggios, and I was just like resampling this, put a bunch of like effects on that, like reverb. That was like really the first thing I remember putting down like in the DAW that got me started. So it was this and the drum loops and this vocal sample here. Which, once again, from the same pack. Shout out to Umro. I don't know if he probably never watched this. He's also pretty like, because I watched a bunch of videos from him, and it's like very under the radar in some way. I mean, it's a super niche genre. Like, who the hell listens to like hyperpop unironically? So yeah. But this is basically the same previous Juno arpeggio, just with washed in a bunch of like hyper reverb, and that's like the acting as the pad for this section. Yeah, another pad from the same pack. A lot of splice stuff in this one for sure. But searching splice samples can be a skill. So yeah, I mean, this is basically what's going, like, it's basically just the same sounds. Bunch of layers for that melody, and then well, this is quite interesting if we get into that like electronic section. That's where a lot of the sound design sort of went. And this is just granular synthesis. With the granulator, like I showed many times on this channel. Oh, I think this one in particular is from Flume's pack. So and then like, I mean, this is the whole section. Like I called it Flume with an N, but it's like so inspired by Flume. So yeah, huge influence in general. Even though it's like a completely different style of music. But yeah, that's basically what's going on. There's also, I think, an interesting lead. I think this one. So this is, I think this is like an 808, like a bass, possibly. Not too sure what it was, but this is a very old kind of resampling thing I did that I use like from time to time. This is just layering like the guitar lead here. Very screechy and annoying, so it was a little bit like into the mix, but I think it adds like a nice character. That's honestly basically it. Like, it's pretty straightforward. Nothing crazy going on, but I think altogether it creates an interesting like soundscape. At least that's what I was going for. Then you can let me know what you think. Anyway, if you want to stream it, should be out. So yeah, bye.